Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Life in General podcast. My name is Nick.
And
I'm Ian.
And I'm officially announcing my candidacy for the President of the United States of America.
Ian, I would not vote for you.
Why not?
I would not vote for you.
Well, I wouldn't vote for you either. So. Unless you're running against Trump, then I'd vote for you then.
If it was between you and Donald Trump.
Oh, come on.
Man. I don't know which one's worse.
Well, actually, that's very indicative of our country because you and I agree on like 98% of everything, but that 2% is what you would vote against me for.
That's the big sticking point.
Yeah, and it's nothing. It's like it's actually not even a thing. The 2% we disagree on is really just details.
You're like a left-wing commie, and
well, first of all,
I'm just joking.
I teeter on the level of socialist. I will admit that. But I don't know if
it's the good kind of socialist.
No, I mean what I'm saying is that I walk that line because I do think there has to be a balance, a capitalist balance.
Yeah.
The problem is we don't have that balance in this country. It's all capitalism, and that's the problem. You can't have all of one or all of the other. You have to have a mix.
Yeah.
A solid mix.
Yeah. 2024 is going to be a very interesting election.
I think 2022 is going to be a very interesting election, especially after the events of the last, now as you're listening to this week.
Yeah. After, I don't know. I think it's going to be, well, yeah, you're right. 2022 is going to be interesting just because it's going to be interesting to see what the turnout looks like because Democrats typically don't turn out in midterm elections.
Right. Well, actually, to be honest, they rarely turn out in presidentials too.
Well,
not to the same number.
Yeah, they did.
They did in 2020, and they did in 2008.
Yeah.
I think 2012 was a reduction.
Yeah, it was.
They didn't turn out in 2016.
They did not.
Which is how we're in this fucking mess in the first goddamn place. Thanks.
Thanks, Obama.
Well, it was a lot of his voters who didn't turn out because they didn't like Hillary and they didn't like Trump. I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand that problem, but you have to, if you're part of a society, if you don't want it to go one way or the other, you have to make a choice.
Yeah.
Whether it's a good, if none of the choices are good, you still have to make one.
They made a choice, yeah. Well, they made a choice.
Yeah.
They just stayed home.
Right.
And let Donald Trump.
Well, they have to make an actual legitimate choice, not just to not show up.
Yeah. 2022 I think is going to be interesting, like I said, because to see what the turnout looks like, to see if Democrats can turn out female voters and really,
well, we need to get
anyone that
at this point it's female voters for sure need to turn out. You also, because of what's been going on, and we've all talked about, everyone's talking about the next step. The LGBTQ community has to turn out, for sure.
Yeah.
And as much as I can understand that there's elements of the African American community who don't agree with the LGBTQ community, and I guess the same can be said for the Hispanic, this is the beginning. So it's going to affect them down the road, even if they don't necessarily agree with those other things. You've got to
cut the head off of the snake.
Right.
Yeah, because it will. Even if, because, you're right. They could sit on the sidelines and say, well, this doesn't affect us.
Right.
Eventually
it will.
They will eventually come for you.
Yes. And they want to. They a lot of their lesser people are already saying that they're going to.
Yeah.
And these are the same the level of crazy that's saying they want to go after interracial marriage and stuff like that. That level of crazy is where the normal Republicans used to be in 2010.
Yeah.
So it only takes a decade before today's crazy becomes tomorrow's leaders.
Yeah. No, you're right. But as far as like looking ahead to 2024, because I will say that you like to beat on your chest and talk about how you predicted the overturning of Roe v. Wade.
I did.
I will do the same.
Okay.
And that I will say that long before the 2020 election, I correctly said that Joe Biden would be the nominee and Kamala Harris would be his pick for VP. So
I do remember you mentioned. I don't remember that particular prediction, but I knew
yes,
you would.
we did a whole episode.
Well,
on
you
it.
predicted Joe Biden for sure. I don't remember the Kamala Harris part,
Yeah.
but and I didn't. I think part of me it was more like I just didn't want to accept that because he was not. I don't think he was the ideal choice
I think for
the time because he won. I mean, it worked.
I will say this: that I think that Joe Biden was the ideal candidate for what the 2020 election ended up being.
Maybe.
With the pandemic and everything else around it, I think he was the correct choice.
Yeah, I don't know.
But now at this point, is he the correct choice for
No.
2024?
I don't think.
Honestly,
I don't think he's got it in him.
I don't think so either.
I mean, his energy. I mean, we looked up his age before this.
He will be 80 years old this
year.
November.
So he's essentially 80 now.
When by the time the election rolls around, he'll be 82 years old.
Right. So he's 80 years old, and he looks 80.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like other people who are 80. It's not, Keith Richards is 80. And, Mick Jagger's almost 80, and he can still run around on stage. It's not the same type of 80.
No.
It's definitely not.
I've noticed over the course of the past year, really in the last year,
Yeah.
whenever Joe talks, there seems to be some kind of like cognitive delay.
he's 80.
He's
I think
80
the
years old.
synapses aren't firing like
Yeah.
they used to. Because you can see interviews of him back, especially back in like the 70s and 80s.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He's a whip.
Yeah.
Now he's barely, a wet rag as far as, how fast he is and quick and. So I personally think that regardless of who the Republicans put up, I don't think Joe should run.
I don't think he should either.
I know he could beat Donald Trump again, possibly. If
I don't know
all
if he
things
can.
being equal.
I don't know if he could. I don't
all
know
things
if he
being
could.
equal, I don't know.
Because here's the thing, and that's why he was so successful, I think, in 2020, is because he didn't have to stand on a stage and
Though this is true.
debate Donald Trump more than what they did 2 debates.
I thought they only did one. Didn't they?
Was
just
it
do
only one?
Yeah, because Trump dropped out of the
That's
other
right.
ones.
Well, no,
he whined about it.
They did 2 because he secretly tested positive for COVID before
Oh,
doing
that's
the
right.
second
That's
one.
right. That's right.
And then did the second one.
Right.
So they did 2, but there wasn't like there wasn't like a
There was no
series.
audience there.
Correct.
Right.
So the way they typically do presidential elections or the run up to the election is they have multiple debates.
Right.
There's always a debate on like a specific like a foreign policy debate,
Right.
and then there's always like a town hall debate where it's like questions from the crowd. That didn't happen in 2020.
Right.
Joe can't do that in 2024.
No, he can't. He probably wouldn't have been able to do it then. To be completely honest.
Possibly.
And I don't know. Kamala Harris has really been. I mean, she's not that she's not doing her job, but she has stayed completely out of the spotlight for the most part for the entirety of the Biden administration.
But I think that's on purpose. I
It
think
is.
it's
It
intentional.
is. But I don't know. I don't know her well enough to know if she has the teeth to really push forward and be a nominee either. I mean, she might, for all I know, but we haven't seen enough of her.
Yeah.
And I don't think if she didn't have the teeth to do it against Joe Biden in the primaries,
Yeah.
I'm
Which
not
she
really.
did. She really went after Joe. And
Yeah, I guess, but then
she was really the only one that I think really did.
No, some of the other ones that just didn't have a chance did.
Yeah.
As far as going forward, I don't know. I mean, I have my ideal picks, but I don't think they would run. I don't even think they would try.
Like who?
I'd be very happy with a Buttigieg.
Pete Buttigieg, absolutely.
I'd be happy with him. To be honest with you, I like Andrew Yang too.
Yeah, Andrew Yang is
too socialist.
He's not really in the Democratic Party anymore.
No, but I just ideal. But Buttigieg. So I mean, as far as
Yeah.
that, if I have to pick a candidate who's officially a Democrat.
I will say that Bernie Sanders told aides earlier this year that he has not ruled out a third run for the presidency.
I like Bernie. I like Bernie because he sticks to what he believes.
Yeah.
And I think he would fight tooth and nail for what he believes. And I believe in a lot of the same things he does. He's too old.
Yeah.
And he doesn't sell his message right.
Yeah.
To people who don't share his
And I don't think that his message is a winning message.
But it should be.
I don't know.
His attack on corporate...
Yes, but where I think Bernie Sanders loses a lot of people is on Medicare for all or Medicaid for all.
Right. Which
Medicare
he shouldn't. I mean, it's Medicare for all. Which he shouldn't, because it's actually a good idea.
But
it just can't sell it to this country.
But when Bernie Sanders gets up on a stage and talks about how he wants to get rid of private insurance,
right,
dude, I'm a Democrat, and you fucking lose me on that.
Right. Well, every other country allows the countries that have universal health care all allow private insurance.
No. So
why would he want to get rid of it? You're right. I don't understand that.
And that's why I like Pete Buttigieg's plan, which is,
Medicare for who wants it.
Medicare for all who wants it. So if you want Medicare, you can have it. If you want to keep your private insurance, you can keep it. Premiums are probably going to go up, but you can keep it.
Right.
And
I don't think they'd have to go up too much because you'd still have to buy into the universal care. Just be a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
So it's not like all of the insurance companies are now going to have to pay more necessarily. It's all going to balance out.
Yeah. But when you get up in, especially like in Michigan, where there's a big union footprint in the state of Michigan.
Well, it used to be.
Yeah, there still is. There still is.
It's been filled in a little bit.
Yeah. Well, like it has been everywhere. But there's still that footprint in the state of Michigan. But when you get up in front of those union crowds and try to sell your message of you're going to take their really good fucking health insurance away from them.
No, I agree.
You're not going to win. It's just
I
not
agree.
a winnable message.
That's one of the few things I don't agree with. I think if you want to keep your private insurance or use your private insurance as a supplement, there's no reason you shouldn't be allowed to do that because they do allow that in those countries that he's basing his model on.
Yeah.
So I don't know why he wouldn't allow that, but
you're right. And for the most part, I agree with him on a lot of stuff. I probably not as much as you, but I would say a firm, 80 to 85% of the stuff. I agree with.
And I'm
Bernie
probably
on.
at 90.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I know. I do not want to see Bernie Sanders running. If there's a younger version of Bernie Sanders, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
But Bernie Sanders, and we were kind of talking about this, there really should be an age cap. There's a minimum age. There should be a maximum age.
Yeah, because we're getting to a point where like if you want to put money on it, you're going to have a 78-year-old against a 82-year-old running for president.
Right. Their time is come and gone.
Yeah. And I'll say that I don't think Donald Trump's going to be the nominee for the Republicans.
Right. Well, and we should put a little note on this episode as conflicting predictions.
Yeah.
Because I think he will run. I think
he will run. He won't win though. Ron DeSantis is going to be the Republican nominee.
Right.
Fox is already getting behind him. They're pushing all
but
his stuff. But
Fox News will not stay behind him if Donald Trump decides to run, even if he runs independent.
He already said he's going to run.
Right. But he could run independent.
Let him run independent. That'd be fucking fantastic.
Right. He'll just get all the Republican votes.
Well,
They won't split the ticket.
Yeah, I think they would.
You think so?
I think there's a lot of people that are Trump supporters that look at Ron DeSantis as the next step and a younger version of Donald Trump. And in a lot of ways,
he is. Yeah, absolutely. Maybe a little bit smarter, which makes him a bit more dangerous, actually.
And I will say that, like, if it's an election between Joe Biden and Ron DeSantis, DeSantis wins hands fucking down. Right. It is a repeat of 1980 all over again.
Right.
All over again.
That's why I really just don't. I can't see Joe Biden running again.
No.
I honestly don't think he's healthy enough to run again.
I don't think so either.
I'm actually shocked he survived this long.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't look well. A lot of times I've seen him.
Doesn't. I've been beating this drum for probably a decade now. Mm-hmm. Close to it.
What about age limits?
No, about Gavin Newsom. there was this split. So there was they had to pick between Gavin Newsom and Kamala Harris. One of them was going to run for senator. The other one was going to run for governor.
Right.
Gavin Newsom won the flip of a coin and ran for governor. And I think it would have been interesting if it had been reversed and he would have been senator, because I think had he been senator, he'd be president now already.
Perhaps. Now, that being said, there were enough people in California to get him to bring up a recall
it is so easy. People get
I
recalled
know. I'm
in
not
California all the fucking time.
I know, but it doesn't look good on the resume.
No, but he easily won the recall election. Easily.
I don't have a problem with Gavin Newsom. I do have a problem with some of the way that California regulates, because they over-regulate.
They do.
I believe in strong regulation. I don't believe in over-regulation, because there is a tipping point where.
But you can't fully put that on Gavin Newsom.
No,
either,
you can't.
Because
And a lot of it's county-based.
That and a lot of those regulations have been like that for literally
30 years.
Our entire lifetime.
Right.
California's always been kind of run and operated like that. So I don't really put that on Gavin Newsom.
No, I don't. But see, these are things that others will use against him.
Oh, yeah.
Republicans, say what you want about them. They know how to run a dirty campaign.
Yeah.
They know how to go after your weak spots, because that's all they have. They don't have platforms.
And I think that's kind of been the thing with Gavin Newsom, though. And I think that's something that I think he has over a lot of other potential candidates in 2024, at least on the Democratic side, is he's got name recognition,
right?
Being governor of the biggest, economy in the United States. I think they're the 7th largest economy in the world. California is.
Yeah. Well, at least they have been. I don't know if that's going to continue.
Yeah, well, we'll see. But he's got name recognition, and also he's been very open about the mistakes he's made in his life. He at least is a lot of the stuff he talks. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff I'm sure he doesn't talk about.
I don't care about any of that. I care about policies.
Yeah, I know that. But as far as it makes it a lot harder for
the other
side to dig up dirt on you when you're really open about a lot of the dirt you already have.
True. I think at this point, Donald Trump should if you're going to take anything away from Donald Trump, is just don't let it bother. Just if it comes out that he did something wrong, just say it's not as bad as what Donald Trump's done.
Well,
I don't know why these people don't say that.
Yeah,
I did something wrong. He did it worse.
Yeah.
So fuck you.
Because he's the Teflon Don, man.
Yeah, literally.
it's what it is.
Well, we'll see how that goes. I mean, I know the Senate hearings are not going to go anywhere.
No, they won't.
They should.
They won't.
They've already come up with, I think, at least 2 or 3 opportunities where they could probably indict him.
Yeah.
At least indict him.
They will probably they will recommend charges.
And Merrick Garland's going to just tuck tail and run.
Exactly.
Part of me is kind of glad he didn't become a Supreme Court justice.
Yeah.
Although the consequences of that have been.
I was like, really?
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. He's spineless. I don't know if he would have even voted in favor of us anyway.
I think he's more calculated than people give him credit for.
Well, his calculations are fine, and I understand, and I like that. If that's the case, I prefer that. But there has to be action.
Yeah.
And like I said, there's probably at least one item of indictable evidence that's been presented against Donald Trump. And that's fine if he wants to wait for more. But at the end of this, if there's more than 2 or 3 more, he needs to do something. And if he doesn't, that calculation means nothing.
Here's the thing. And this is where I kind of, at least I think where Merrick Garland is going. And that is, what would you rather have? Would you rather have the Senate recommend charges and the DOJ decide not to pursue them? Or would you rather have the Senate recommend charges, the DOJ prosecute him, and then Donald Trump walks? What would you rather have? Because here's the thing. I don't think Merrick Garland is not going to press charges if he doesn't have a case he knows he can win. And I understand that.
Right.
Because if you go out
I
there,
do, but I
if you
think
go out there and lose, to go out there and lose is worse than going out there and not
Dude.
pressing charges.
And I understand that, but I have a feeling, and
That's why I thought it was stupid that they even impeached Trump the first time, not the
Right.
second time. The
Right.
second time was justified.
Right.
The first time it was a stretch.
Right.
And I optically I think it looked bad. And
I agree.
especially since everyone knew he was going to walk on that.
Right.
And then all that did was give him his day in the Senate to be vindicated,
Right.
or what he claimed to be vindication.
So, to answer your question, I understand that, but I have a feeling that the only way, based on what evidence has already been presented and the way that the hearings are going, the only way he's going to walk is if Merrick Garland fucks the case up.
I don't think so, man. It's still going to come down to a jury, man. You're still
Right.
in front of a jury, even like, and that's why I said he's got to have a case that he knows is fucking airtight.
I have a feeling they'll give him one.
I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be. I don't know if that's possible.
And you're right, you may be right, because we don't have everything. I
Yeah.
mean, at the time of this recording, like I said, there's probably only one instance where I know I'm like that he could be indicted.
But Liz Cheney has already said that they
will recommend.
they will recommend
I know.
charges. By the way, she is going to be out in November.
Oh, guaranteed.
The last poll, she's polling at like 10%.
Oh yeah. There's no chance. She's seen as a traitor in the Republican Party. So is the other guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's up because he's a senator. He's up for re-election. So right?
Oh no, you're
It's every 4 years.
every 6 years for Senate.
Oh, I thought it was.
Nope, it's every 6.
Oh.
And they alternate between junior and senior senator
Okay,
for 6 years. But that's why.
Well, he might be. Then he might be safe for now. But he'll be out when his time comes.
Yeah.
Because again, he's already been seen as a traitor. I don't know. I think even if Donald Trump wasn't the piece of shit that he is, I think he's too old.
Yeah.
But he's determined. He's going to run again. I can see him, even if he doesn't get the nominee, I can see him still running third party. Because he won't care if he splits the ticket.
Who?
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump? No,
No.
he won't care.
So
Because he thinks he's arrogant enough to think he can win off a third
right.
party.
So here's the thing: if you're the Republican Party and Donald Trump says, "I'm running either way,"
Yeah.
do you still support Ron DeSantis?
They're going to have to if the people fucking vote for him.
I guess, but
Because here's the thing: of like,
now
if they,
in a
if
primary,
they,
in a
if
full
they,
primary,
if they go through a full primary and Ron DeSantis wins that primary, and then the Republican Party goes, "Well, we're going to pick Donald Trump anyway," they will fuck their.
Right.
I mean,
But
the
equally-
party be over.
equally, well, I'm okay with that. Equally,
Well, that's all right.
if they don't give the nomination to Donald Trump and he still wants it, and he decides to run third party, they're shooting themselves in the foot anyway.
Yeah,
'Cause like I said, I don't think-
I think they will live with that decision because they can't. Like, man, you are going to, and as much as I don't give a shit about most Republicans,
No.
they will disenfranchise the entire Republican Party or a good chunk of the Republican Party, which I'd be fine with. But whatever.
Right. I mean, we're not talking about anything we don't want to happen. In fact, we're basically this is a Christmas list for us, both of us.
Disenfranchise, check.
Right. Split the ticket, check.
Democrats win, check, check.
Right. But I have a feeling it's all going to come down to this November 22 is going to determine what goes forward, because I think Donald Trump he's already out. He's supporting his candidates.
Yeah.
He'll wait to see how many of his candidates.
He's already said he's running.
Right. But he can still change his mind.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think he's going to see
And keep all the money.
if less of his candidates that he supported wins, he might go, you know what, I'll primary, but if not, he'll just let Ron DeSantis have it.
Yeah.
But if the vast majority of the candidates that he supports wins, he's going to see that as his vindication to stay
So far, the candidates he's backed,
It's been 50-50.
It's been, it's really been a mixed bag.
It has.
And it always will be, because it really depends on who the candidate is and what state it is.
Well, for
or
a while
district
there,
it is.
like it seemed like anyone he supported was going to win.
Yeah. That's not the case anymore.
But it's not the case anymore.
And
but
there's been-
like I said, I think Donald Trump, again, he's an idiot, but he's not that big of an
But here's
idiot.
the thing you have to remember, though, is like, I don't remember what poll it was recently, but Donald Trump is his favorability rating has dropped 20% in the Republican Party.
Which is so weird because they're all basically parroting his words. Isn't that funny how that works?
Because I think as much as Donald Trump and the Republicans want to downplay it, I think these hearings have had had an effect.
I don't know. Because the way everything's so polarized.
If you take Republicans and say it's Donald Trump versus whoever on the Democratic side, yeah, you're 100% correct. They're always going to pick Donald Trump. Right. But I think if you say, here's Donald Trump, here's Ron DeSantis, here's Ted Cruz or whoever else wants to run, Marco Rubio again, I think that number is going to be a lot more split. And there's going to be a lot of people that are like, look, I like Donald Trump. I like what he did as a president, but I think it's time for somebody else.
Right.
Or I can't get behind this January 6th bullshit. Because there's a lot of Republicans that don't necessarily see it as an insurrection, but see it as something that maybe Donald Trump should have gone out there and stopped.
Right. Yeah, you're right. You're on that. I don't know.
You say those words a lot, Ian.
What? You're right? Trust me, I don't say it anywhere near as much as you think it's true.
No, whatever.
Because I don't believe it's true as much as you think it's true.
Whatever.
You say right things. I'll acknowledge that. Yeah, you're right. You're right sometimes.
A broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah, and to be fair, I'd say you're probably right more than 4 times a day.
Oh, thank you, Ian.
You're welcome. I'll give you 4. On a good day, you might even hit 5. But I don't know. I at this point, I'm more concerned about what the Democrats are doing.
Yeah,
because we can pretty much predict to a degree what we're looking at from the Republican side. Because I agree with you. I think DeSantis is a rising star.
Yeah,
and has a lot of potential on their side. I think he's terrible. I think he's a terrible
absolutely,
human being.
Yeah.
But
most Republicans are
right.
That's why they're Republicans.
And then given the choice between him and a Marjorie Taylor Greene or a fucking Lauren Boebert,
yeah,
I'd take Ron DeSantis. It's not that much of a stretch either that, from those two to him, but still, I'd still take him.
Yeah.
Because at least, again, he's not a fucking idiot. But, yeah, I'm really kind of more concerned about what's going on the Democratic side because Biden, I don't think can run again. I can see him doing it, but I don't think he should. And then the question becomes, does Kamala run? I don't think she can win against any of them.
Yeah.
The country, we don't even think women have the right over their own bodies. Why would we vote for one as a president?
Yeah.
And she's a woman of color. We've got, racism is allowed again for some reason. It was, someone said, "Hey, you racists can come out of the fucking caves." Whoever had that idea was fucking stupid.
Whoever had that idea was Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, well, yeah, but it still took him 40 years to really, or 35 years to really come out of the closet, come out of the cave and, start banging their drums in public.
He was very open about his
dislike of
his dog whistle politics.
Oh, I know. Trust me, you'll never hear me saying a nice thing about Ronald Reagan.
Old St. Reagan, that's why I've always said, man, his very first campaign after getting the nomination was in Philadelphia, Mississippi. The only thing that ever happened in Philadelphia, Mississippi were the Freedom Riders that were murdered. Mm-hmm. Why fucking go there? Right. Because he was placating to the fucking racists in the Republican Party. And I said it for a long time, and I'll 100%, I'll say it to my dying day. Look, just because you're a Republican does not make you racist.
No.
But if you are a racist, more than likely you are a Republican.
Right. Yeah, they're not mutually exclusive, but, 9 times out of 10.
There's a reason why they lean that way.
Right. Yeah, because they wouldn't. The party would not be as racist as it is if it didn't have a large support from racists.
Yeah.
So, I kind of lost my train of thought there, but, Kamala. Kamala doesn't stand a chance. So, does that mean you get a Gavin Newsom running for president and asking Kamala to stay on as vice? Would she do that? That would be that'd be a kick in the teeth.
I don't think she would.
Politically.
And plus, it doesn't make politically. First off, it would never happen because he was not. You're not going to pick a running mate from the same state you're in.
That's true. Now, does a Newsom Buttigieg ticket sound good to you?
That would
sounds great to me.
That would sound great to me.
But does it and I almost hate to go here because I don't like identity politics, but isn't it possible that's too male and too white of a ticket? I don't think you should be.
I don't like it when the Democrats play that way.
I don't either.
So I'm not going to play that way.
But it does work. It does work.
I think that would be a great ticket.
I agree. I 100% agree.
Especially since, I mean...
Because here's the main reason I like it, real quick.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Main reason I really like that ticket is it's young.
Yeah.
It's
well,
not...
young... Yeah,
youngish.
Youngish.
We're talking what? A millennial and a...
Newsom's in his 50s.
So he's Gen Xer. Gen Xer and a millennial. That's what we should have. Yeah, I know. I know, Nick. Trust me, I know. I liked this. It's called Insta 80s and 90s on Instagram. And they just post a bunch of like things from the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
I'm like, I fucking had that. And
yeah.
It's always the 80s stuff, too, that I really like. Toys, especially if they post like toys from the 80s. Like, I had that. I wanted that. I really wanted that. It's depressing. It makes me want to cry all the time.
Gavin will be 55 in October.
Okay.
I will say real quick, talking about the whole time thing. Like 1980, right? So 1980 was, I was born in 79, so it was young, but it was like, it doesn't seem like that long ago, right? But if you think about it, like, from now to 1980 is the same time frame from like 1980 to 1938.
I know. I know. It really does put things in perspective. So we are as separated from our birth times as the world was from before World War II.
Yes. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, it is. It's insane. Yeah, for me, it's 1936. It's the 1936 Olympics.
Yeah.
But
as far as like Republican nominations, man, I think it's kind of a crapshoot. I can see DeSantis doing it. I think if DeSantis runs, he'll probably be the nominee. I can see Nikki Haley running.
Oh, God.
I could see Donald Trump Jr. running.
Well, that's honestly, I mean, do you think that? Well, see, I don't think Jr. has the power, like the charisma that his dad has to really run that party.
Because here's the thing. I think if Donald Trump is looking at the Republican field and is like, look, I can't beat Nikki Haley. I can't beat Ron DeSantis. I can't beat
he would never
Tim Scott. He wouldn't, like, obviously he would never admit that.
Right.
But I think he could say, but if I put my son out there and throw my full weight behind my son and campaign.
Right. So it's all of my energy and all in his looks.
Yes.
Basically, he's the cover.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it'd work. It could work.
It could work. I have a feeling that the main thing with the Republican Party is they're either going to have a strong candidate, whether it's a Trump or a DeSantis or a Haley.
Pence.
No.
Mike Pence.
No. God, no.
I'm going to tell you.
No, this is why. There is no way Mike Pence even runs.
I don't know. I'm going to tell you, like, Mike, as soon as the Roe v. Wade ruling was released, Mike Pence was right out.
Yeah, because it's his thing.
That's his thing.
He's been a strong proponent for that forever because he likes submissive women.
So I could see him throwing. I don't think he would not win the nominee.
No,
he would not win the nomination
because he wouldn't be able to. Half of that party thinks he's a traitor.
He wouldn't be able to be on the stage with Nikki Haley without his wife there. So
right. Well, second of all, half of the party thinks he's a traitor to this country.
Yeah.
So there's no way he's even going to try to run because he can't win.
It'd be interesting to see.
Oh, I'd love it because he can't win. There's no way he can win because you'd have people who would literally have to vote for someone they think is a traitor.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
they're Republicans. They don't care.
They like traitors anyway. So I mean, Donald Trump is a traitor.
They like traitors to the country, not to the party.
Oh, gotcha.
When you go against your party, it's a completely different thing.
It's a completely different thing. But yes, I think the Republican side is going to be a much more a mixed bag. I can see it going a bunch of different ways.
I think it is just because I think in the grand scheme of things, Biden's running again.
Yeah, I'm not so certain on that. I mean, I know he's said it so far that he plans to run, but man, it's 2022 and he's not He hasn't done anything yet.
No.
As far as like moving towards that. When you've got Donald Trump out there campaigning.
Well,
already,
see, he doesn't. As a sitting president, he doesn't really have to.
Yeah, but man, I don't. That's a bad way to go.
Obama didn't. Not in his leading up in 2010. He was out campaigning for the midterms, but he wasn't campaigning for his second term.
Maybe he did wait till after the midterm
because he doesn't have to
elections.
primary anything. It's just you just start campaigning when the time comes.
Yeah.
Like
But,
when the other side's primaries are dwindling down.
That was 12 years ago, man. That was like a fucking millennium ago.
Does feel like it, doesn't it?
But it's a very different political landscape we're in. I think that if he plans to run, he at least needs to say he's running
Right.
now.
I have a feeling we'll probably get a definitive answer after the midterms.
Yeah.
I really do, because that's going to determine everything going forward. Because it doesn't matter who runs on the Republican side.
Yeah.
If the Republicans win big in this November, which is very likely because they usually do in a midterm, although I think Roe v. Wade has the potential to shoot them in the foot.
Yeah.
And a lot of their rhetoric may have a potential to shoot them in the foot if Democrats go out and fucking vote. But if the Republicans take control in November, as is predicted, I don't think it matters who the Republicans put up, because they're going to follow the Donald Trump plan, and they're going to put a lot of people in positions where votes are going to disappear and votes are going to turn from one side to the other. We know it's going to happen because they've been saying they're going to do that anyway.
Yeah.
They said they want to put their own electors in. They want to take away they want to make voting harder. They've been saying it for 3 years now.
They've been saying that since 1980.
Right, but they not like they're saying it now.
Yeah.
Basically, they're saying when we win, we're going to change the whole system.
It was early 80s. It was like 1980, 1981, one of those first couple of years in the 80s. I don't even remember the guy's name, but he used to be, at the time, he was the head of the RNC. Did a speech that was recorded, because I've heard the recording of this, where he was talking to Republicans. And it was like a fundraiser. And in that speech, he talked about why they needed to reduce the amount of voters voting. And he even said, because when there are fewer voters, that's when Republicans win.
Right.
So, I mean, it's like, for my entire fucking lifetime,
That's
has been
their
there.
plan. But they weren't saying that in public. They were saying that behind closed doors.
Behind closed doors.
So we know how that is. And to be fair, I would say that there's probably people on the other side who may think on our side who might think that way too, but in the reverse, at least about.
Well, yeah,
not necessarily about,
because our side wins when more people vote.
Right.
Like,
but I mean, they found cheating on both sides in the past.
Not
to any grand scale.
I will say that I don't know who the person is running. She's running against Gretchen Whitmer here in Michigan for governor. And I saw one of her campaign ads a couple of days ago, and I couldn't fucking believe it. She's like talking she even says in the ad something along the lines of, well, why is it only dead people that vote for Democrats?
Well, there's that guy. He's got his actual like zombie in his, not like a real zombie. He's got someone dressed up like a zombie in his ad, and they're standing in a voting booth.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Because saying the same thing. No more dead people voting. Dead people are fucking voting.
No, you
idiots
that's
are
not a thing.
just, you're idiots. You're all fucking idiots.
Because people are rubes. That's why.
I know.
People are, it's the same thing with like, oh, these illegal immigrants are voting.
Right.
No, they're not.
No.
Because they're trying to stay in the shadows because they want to stay in the country.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
They don't want to get caught.
They will get caught if they go to a voting booth.
Yes.
And even if they don't, they're still risking getting caught.
Yes. Like I have dealt with more. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit the mic there. I have dealt with more undocumented immigrants than probably most people. I worked in immigration. I dealt with trying to keep them here in the States for the 3.5 years I worked there. Those people aren't out there voting. Like
no, they're not doing anything. They go to work, get their check, and they go home.
Yes, because that and like to drink a little bit, but because a lot of the ones that we dealt with were getting picked up for DUIs.
Right.
That's how they ended up in immigration court.
Right.
But those people aren't going to. All joking aside, those people aren't going to vote because they know that if they get caught, they're
getting deported.
They're getting deported.
Right.
So why would you risk that? They're not. I mean, and the people that say that they're fucking lying.
It's fear mongering.
Yeah.
Because it's not immigrants, it's brown people.
Yeah.
Who are not citizens. That's it. It's the brown people. They don't want brown people voting.
Yeah.
They don't want brown people to exist.
Well, they don't. It's not just brown people. They don't want people to vote.
Well, true. No, I understand
They don't
that.
want people to vote.
I understand that, but the immigration thing is directly linked to Hispanic people.
Well, yeah, because you had Reagan, the old soul. Go back to Reagan, old Saint Reagan, getting up there talking about, what was he calling them? Welfare queens and things like that. It's like.
Well, I think that was probably directed more at the African American community than it was,
But it was all that fear mongering.
It is.
Though.
It's the fear mongering based on they're different than us and they're trying to take our stuff.
Yeah. Even though that's not true.
No, but it's the rhetoric that's been used by fascist governments for forever.
Yeah.
You build up enough fear of the other that you will do anything that the government tells you to do in order to stay safe.
Yeah.
And keep your stuff.
But they're the free ones.
But yeah.
I don't know.
It's the same thing. The rioters, oh my God, they're terrorists. Let's go storm the Capitol.
But they're saying the same thing in reverse, though. They're like, oh, well, the Democrats want to hold hearings about the January 6th, but where's all the hearings for the riots?
Right. Oh, well, not only that, but look at Benghazi. I mean, how much money was wasted on fucking Benghazi?
I know that.
But this is a witch trial.
Yeah, I know.
Or witch hunt.
Yeah. But that's the funny thing is like they talk about Benghazi or they talk about the 6 soldiers that died pulling out of Afghanistan.
Right.
I mean, that's the hill that they go to die on. I mean, it
works. It works for at least for their side of the party.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think to wrap it up, it's difficult to say, but I think November is going to determine a lot. This upcoming November.
No. Let's throw it out there.
Okay.
Who's the Republican nominee in 2024?
I'm going to have to say Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I really am. I don't want it to be true. I don't necessarily want I don't want DeSantis either, but I got a gut feeling it's going to be Donald Trump.
I think Ron DeSantis is going to be your pick.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ron DeSantis will be the Republican nominee.
Right. If Biden decides not to run, if we're going to be realistic about
maybe
it,
he'll pick Ted Cruz as his running mate.
No, he's toxic.
I know, but it's a big state. You could use a Texas Republican on the ticket.
True,
but
I don't think he'd pick. I don't think he'd pick.
Here's the thing, though. If Texas secedes from the Union, Ted Cruz isn't in the Senate anymore.
Hey, that Texas secession is looking better and better every day.
That's hilarious.
But so my prediction for the Republican side, my gut's telling me Donald Trump. Now, my gut is also telling me that if it's not Biden on the Democratic side, it's going to be Harris, and I can guarantee you we're going to lose.
Yeah,
And real quick, this is why, because the Democrats, even the young ones, still have this mindset. It's my turn.
Yeah,
that Hillary mindset. It's my turn. That's the only reason she ran in 2016. Because she knew she couldn't win in 2008. She says, "Fine, I'll support you, but you support me when it's my turn."
Yeah,
and that's how the Democrats have done it. They've always done it that way. For a while, the Republicans were doing it that way. They're not doing it anymore. But they used to do the same thing.
They did.
Mitt Romney was
next.
I
mean, same with John McCain.
McCain was next, and Romney was next. Donald Trump fucked that up. Maybe we need a Donald Trump on our side.
Yeah,
I
think
it would probably be Dwayne Johnson would be our Donald Trump.
Yeah,
I'd vote for him just because
it's The Rock.
Yeah, I know he's not going to make policies that take rights away from women.
Yeah, I think. As far as like Democratic nominees. Like Elizabeth Warren's too old.
She does, yeah, and I think she's learned her lesson.
Pete Buttigieg, I think, is going to be an incredible candidate,
Not
but
yet.
he's too young.
Yeah, he's not.
He's too young.
He's not too young. He's not there yet.
Amy,
I'm happy with him now, though. I mean, I'd take him now. I
Yeah.
think he could do a good job. But
Amy Klobuchar, no, I'm not
No.
there. Sherrod Brown's too old. Cory Booker, I think, might be a good candidate.
he, again, I think I would be okay with him. Yeah, Cory Booker, Buttigieg. I'd be okay with Gavin Newsom. How about a Newsom Booker ticket?
Or it wouldn't happen because they're too close. But
Where's
hold
Booker
on
from?
1 second. Let me finish what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Or a Booker AOC ticket. But you're not going to have a candidate from New York and a candidate from New Jersey. I would think, yeah.
Not only that, but AOC's toxic.
Yeah. Gavin Newsom, Cory Booker, I think would be a fantastic ticket.
Yeah, I agree. And you could even reverse that.
Yeah.
You could reverse it. You could do Booker Newsom. I'd be
But
cool.
the problem, and the reason why I don't think that would ever happen is, I guess it's not really the case right now, is Democrats try to not be only coastal.
Right.
You know, so you don't want to have someone from the East Coast and one person from the West Coast. Even though you do right now, you got Biden from Delaware and Kamala Harris from California. So
Right.
it's very, very coastal. But Democrats try not to be coastal
Right.
because optically it looks bad.
Right. No, I agree.
But
I don't agree that it looked. I agree that it looks bad in the optics, but I disagree that it should.
Yeah.
But
No, I think. I mean, if I was putting money on it, I don't think Biden's going to run.
Okay.
I don't think he's going to run.
but I don't see Kamala giving up either.
I
Do you
I
really
don't
do you
know.
really think she's not going to say, okay, you don't want to run? That's perfectly fine. I'll run in your stead, because in her mind she'd be seeing herself as the next in line.
yeah.
And I mean, theoretically she is. If she was a stronger candidate, I'd even be for it.
Yeah.
I just don't think she's strong enough of a candidate.
No, and that's why I think I think we're finally going to see it. I think Gavin Newsom will be the nominee. I would love to see him against Ron DeSantis.
Now,
That'd be a great election.
Is there a middle of the country candidate for a VP then that you could think of?
Man,
Because I can't think of any.
Amy Klobuchar. I mean,
No, she can't. I mean, granted, it's just the VP, but she's not
You know what?
likable.
Pete Buttigieg. Why not?
I'm cool with him.
He's
But
Indiana.
yeah, that's true. Indiana.
Indiana. So that wouldn't be a bad pick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was our initial pick anyway.
Yeah. Even if it was, and I could see if it were Kamala Harris with Buttigieg as the VP, I could kind of get behind that.
Oh, I'm behind Harris if she runs. I just don't think she can beat the Republican.
I think they could. I think that ticket could win.
The only problem I foresee with that is because we are dealing with a group in the country, a side in the country, that isn't just about conservative values. Because even the ones who are more centrist Republicans,
Yeah.
a lot of them are still racist.
Yeah.
So you've got that as far as Kamala Harris goes. And if they're racist, they're homophobic too.
Yeah, and I'll say, like, and my grandfather used to say it all the time, that we would have, several times he told me that we would have a black president before we had a female president,
Right.
because there generally seems to be racists on one side,
And
but
sexists on the other.
sexists are
All over.
All over.
True. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's Democrats who are pro-life.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't argue with that. But, yeah, it's...
I think Gavin Newsom would be a good pick because he is, and to have somebody more progressive as a VP pick. Gavin Newsom, he aligns, I think, a lot more with the more centrist part of the Democratic Party. I would never really call him a centrist. He's a California liberal.
Right.
no
He
way
has
around it.
progressive policies.
He does,
which is fine.
But
That's
he's
what
also
I want.
he's also he can be centrist on some things also,
yeah. Well-
and I think that's where he aligns more with Joe Biden, and why Joe Biden was able to connect with people more in the U.S. than Hillary Clinton could.
Right. Well, Hillary just has an air of
Cuntiness.
Yeah.
Not to be sexist, but
Well, no, I'll say cuntiness about a guy. I don't
Yeah.
care. But anyway, I don't know. Like I said, it's really going to be determined in November, and I think the real mystery does exist on the Democratic side based on what Biden does. Because,
Yeah.
like I said,
he can't run, man. He just can't run.
He can run. I could totally see him running.
I could totally see him running also.
Theoretically, I could even kind of see him maybe winning, depending on who the nominee is on the other side.
Yeah.
I don't see him surviving a second term.
No, God, no.
He will die
He'd
in
be
office.
almost 90 by the time it was done.
No, he'll be 80. Yeah,
He'd be almost
86.
90.
He'll be 86,
He'd be almost
87.
90.
Well, how old was Reagan when he got out? He was in his 80s when he got out.
Yeah.
And he was already 2 years into Alzheimer's.
Yeah, he was.
or more, for all we know.
Yeah.
But yeah, the last 2 years of his presidency, for sure, he was suffering from dementia.
It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be an interesting couple of years.
Yeah.
I
look forward to the day when we can just go, yeah, not much is going on these days.
That was like shortly after the 2020 election we did that.
I guess, but did we really?
Yeah, pretty much.
Because I mean, basically, the Stop the Steal started the day after,
I
before
know.
before it was truly even finished.
Yeah.
I mean, well, shit, he was saying the election was going to be stolen from him months before
months
the election.
before that.
Even. But
he was laying the groundwork.
Oh, yeah.
He was actually laying the groundwork
in
for
2016.
that in 2016,
absolutely. Because
that was going to be his play if he didn't win the nomination.
That's why I said he was going to be his play in 2020. I mean, he's predictable.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. It'll be interesting to look back on this episode and see.
Yeah, we should bring this episode back out in a few years and
see how close we can to
Actually,
it. But,
we could bring it out in November and see, based on, because I think by November or at the very least February, for sure we'll know what's going on.
But any questions or comments, you can email us at, what's our email address?
lifeingeneralpod@gmail.com.
Check us out on Facebook. And that's about all we got. Until next time.
Talk to you later.
Peace.
Play my role, let me tell you about it. This shit right here, man, I'm about it. Only real niggas reside around me. Yo, old lady, drop a guard around me. Dip like I know you can, bitch. Show me the ropes like we in the ring. Got you two GoPros, you wanna hang. Shoulder to shoulder, them niggas basic. You know I won't lie. You know that I ain't for that fuck shit. You niggas alright, but I'm way better and she love it. Know that y'all sick as fuck. Here go this tissue, bro. We taking the dub, hoping you get you some. This hit like a pick me up. She taking my drugs. Know they see the sign. That's some dollar signs. Know they sick as fuck. Know they sick as fuck. Tell them get well soon. Tell them get well soon. Know you sick as fuck. Get well soon. Oh shit. Watch out, you